Hello, this is Tom Britt. West Tennessee PBS is working hard to bring you more local shows and quality PBS programs. And they need your financial help because they don't run commercials, they rely on your support. It's easy to donate. Go to their website, westtnpbs.org, and click on the Donate tab. Your donations to Channel 11 stay local and help WLJT-TV continue their mission to be as local as possible.
Good afternoon. It is my honor today to introduce our speaker, someone many of us know, Mr. Dave Bratcher. He was asked to send me a bio, and here's what I got. Husband to Julie, father to Gracie and Bennett, YMCA Senior Vice President for West Tennessee, Rotary Past President, Paul Harris Fellow. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. But I feel a certain requirement to put a little meat on those bones. So we're going to take it in order. So as for Julie, maybe like many of us in this room, he outpunted his coverage there. But I know Julie, and she's sweet, and she's compassionate, and she's very mission-minded. So marrying David probably makes a lot of sense for her. As for his children, I have the privilege of spending a little time with Gracie and Bennett on Sunday mornings, and they are both exceptional teenagers. They will go far and do great things. David's going to speak with us today about the Y and his role there, so I'm going to leave that alone. The other thing he mentioned was his association with us, the Downtown Rotary Club. Dave is the person who encouraged me to join Rotary 4 or 5 years ago, and I think his life work and Rotary go hand in hand. Dave grew up here in Jackson, graduated from both JCM and UT Martin. He's the only child of a principal and an English teacher in the Jackson-Madison County school system. He also ran and was elected to serve on our local school board. So for Dave, teaching, giving, and serving is in his blood and has been modeled for him since birth. Whether at his previous position at the Star Center or in his new role with the Y, Dave has been and continues to be dedicated to making lives better for all of us in Jackson and West Tennessee. Mr. Dave Bratcher.
Well, it's much longer than I'd planned. He left out the punchline, the joke, that I invited him to join, and then I quit coming to Rotary. Stan, thank you for being the one. You didn't stand up and do it, but you did welcome me as a guest today, and I appreciate that. That is kind of the running joke when past presidents get done serving. They sometimes turn into ghosts, and so I saw Frank Wagster back there. I was like, Frank, you're here, and then Carolyn Vaughn. I'm like, well, I guess I need to get back in the routine. So that is my commitment to you, is to get back in the routine. As I stand here, I don't know, I'm not an emotional person, and I'm not overly emotional right now, but as I look across this room, I could just about go down person by person and say the reason I'm standing here is because Kyle Spurgeon did X, or Tim Crossett did Y, or Harvard Alexander, for my back row Presbyterian, did Z. And that is what the power of Rotary is. It is a network, it is relationship-based, and you get out of it what you put into it. And so I just want to encourage my fellow Rotarians who do come on a regular basis to continue to do that, and my promise to you is I endeavor to be better. Cassidy and Rachel are here, and they are the rock stars of our event team. Last year, they started an event here in Jackson, which I'm going to get back to here in just a second, and then started an event in Memphis this year for the first time. YMCA, Memphis of the Mid-South, has been around for 170 years and really had never had a special event fundraiser, which is insane to me when I heard that. So through their efforts, that is not the case anymore, and on to bigger and better things. But before I get started, I want to share with you two words. And the more I'm around people who speak in Old English, the more I think maybe I do need to try to read the King James Version. But somebody made a comment that, and I don't remember what followed it, but the two words, but for. And what I want to present to you today is there's somebody that I know very, very well. I grew up the son of two educators. As David Eblen said, I had a very spoiled life, an only child, which explains a lot to those that know me. But what I can tell you is nothing was hard. Nothing. Everything was easy. My parents loved me. They wanted what was best for me. They were married until my mother passed away. I couldn't have dialed up any better situation. There's a friend of mine who had a different scenario. Yes, he had a mother and a father, but his mother cycled through several relationships. These men were never nice to her. These men were physically harmful to her. And from a very young age, this little boy had to be a man and defend his mama against men. So much so that they came, this gentleman that I'm referring to shows up one night, and so she would always hide him. Gentleman shows up one night, and so he's hidden. Well, he climbs out the window. 11 years old. He climbs out the window, and what he knows is right down the street there's a buddy of his, and he knows that the buddy's dad has a handgun, and he knows where it is, and he goes and he gets it. And at 11 years old, he confronts the man with the firearm, and thank God for him, the man let his brother go and ran away. But in one instance, his life could have forever been different. But for the YMCA, he would not have graduated college. But for the YMCA, he would never have met the love of his life. But for the YMCA, he would not have a precious son. But for the YMCA, his life would forever be different. Many of us in this room, growing up in Jackson, Tennessee, have a YMCA story. And that's an important piece of the development process. It's not just the YMCA. There's Boys and Girls Club stories. There's other stories that happen. And so I don't want to say that the Y is the only place, because it's not, but it's one of the places. The Y has 3 pillars, and I want to share those briefly with you today, and we're going to get out of here early. Healthy living is the first one. When people think of the YMCA, they think of a gym and swim, place we go work out, place we swim. How many of you learned to swim at the Y? Anybody? Okay, several. I learned to swim. Where did I learn to swim? I just remember it was really cold, and I had to swim and grab those little rings, and I thought I was going to die. It was in somebody's backyard. It was not at the Y. And then I carried my daughter to one swim lesson, and they forced her to put her head under the water, and we didn't go back. And anyway, and my son, I don't know how he learned how to swim, but he knows how. I say all that to say there are these very important life moments. And so in the areas of rural West Tennessee where we don't have a physical fitness center, what we're trying to do is get safety around water training into schools so that kids understand not to be terrified of water to the point where it's unhealthy, but to have a healthy appreciation for what can happen if you get into water and cannot swim. And so that is one of the great things that the Y does. Also, I love what one of our junior Rotarians said, I believe. She referred to all of you as young people. And so we used to call our senior program Active Older Adults. And apparently we got some input. And so now we call them active Healthy Adults. So we don't refer to them as older any longer, but the point is, from beginning of life to the other end, there are programs and things that the Y is involved in. The other thing that I'm going to tell you is Mayor McTizick and the City Council in Bolivar voted a month or so ago to move forward with the renovation of the National Guard Armory, and that will be a YMCA in Bolivar, Tennessee, which is right next to the place where everybody knows, and that's Walmart. The next thing is this press release has not gone out yet. It's going to go out tomorrow. So I told y'all were special. The Dyersburg Family YMCA will reopen by January the 1st. So there will be a YMCA in Dyersburg again, and we're super excited about that. Number 2, youth development. Youth development shows up in lots of different ways at the Y. One is school age, so before and after care. So we're in like 11 schools in Jackson-Madison County for before and or after care. Milan, Trenton, also in Somerville, Tennessee, as relates to rural West. And then early learning centers. The Early Learning Center, through collaboration with West Tennessee Healthcare, opened in 2022. There's temporary closure on that right now. Working with our state partners, it's going to be a grand reopening very, very soon. But the other thing I want to talk about is ever since I came to the Y, I've been working on a project just down the street. It's Exit 42. On November the 4th, there's going to be a groundbreaking at 10 a.m. For the Early Learning Center at Ford at Blue Oval City. And this will be the biggest spike of the football that you've ever seen anybody spike. I've never worked a project that long in my whole entire life. And it's going to be awesome. Did that slip, or did you? Okay, all right. Well, you got to watch him sometimes. 2 other things. Little Rock just opened up 2 early learning centers in Little Rock in August. I think August 25th was when those 2 opened. So when it says Memphis in the Mid-South, Mid-South continues to get larger due to there not being a YMCA. It's the only city that's a capital city of a state that does not have a YMCA is Little Rock, Arkansas. So we are there. The third one is social responsibility. Social responsibility shows up in lots of different ways. The most tangible way that it shows up is through food. So this past summer, in 10 weeks when school was out, the YMCA distributed 2.2 million meals to kids all across the region. If you look at just rural West Tennessee, it was over 800,000. And that is huge. We say all the time the YMCA is more than a place, and we kind of have to say it, and we did when I started in Jackson. By the way, my father went to his grave not knowing what in the world I did, going to work for a place that had closed. That's a little funny there. But when you don't have a thing that you're trying to talk about, you got to figure out how to talk about it. And the way we talk about it is it's more than a place, it's a promise for a brighter future. Because there are counties and cities and towns in West Tennessee that will never have a YMCA. There's not enough people there, right? It doesn't make sense. But that doesn't mean that there can't be food distribution. That doesn't mean that we can't take Y on the Fly there to neighborhoods. That doesn't mean that we can't do before and after care. So those are the things that move the needle. And all right, we're good on time. So over 55% of families that receive services or participate in the Y receive some kind of financial assistance, so some kind of scholarship, which means you've got to raise money to provide those scholarships. And so shout out to, y'all may have seen, anybody ever seen this? Ever seen that? Oh, yeah, thanks, Greg. Yeah, Greg has. Greg's the only one. He's seen it. There's a spread in here, and I don't know if Evan is still back there or not. He may not be. I don't see his head, and that's my fault. There's a spread in there because there's this event I was referring to a second ago called the Wagers. And the Wagers is presented by Capital City Residential Healthcare, and it's year 2. And we came up with the idea, if you remember, St. Mary's, I think it was St. Mary's. It was St. Mary's or Sacred Heart. Y'all can correct me for those of you that know. They had a casino night. And then they decided it had run its course, whatever. Anyway, they're not going to do it anymore. And so we got to thinking, hey, we could do casino night, but then wouldn't it be cool if we did a casino night kind of meshed with a speakeasy? That could be neat. Nobody ever does it because in this town, you better come up with some unique something because there's something all the time. It's like, how can we do something a little bit different? So last year we kept the location a secret. We're going back to the same location, so that's not a secret this year. It will be different, but that will be the same. But it's the wagers, and we added something different this year. It's called the High Rollers Club. And so the High Rollers Club is, there's going to be 9 human beings who are going to sit around the table and play Texas Hold'em while everybody stands around and watches. And they're going to fundraise, and so whoever raises the most money before the event is going to have the largest stack of chips to start the evening. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me see if y'all recognize some of these names. Stacy McIntyre, Chad Davis, Kelly Cox, Spencer Pratt, Danny Fry, Mandy White, Patton Webb, Mark Taylor, and this is the Mark Taylor of MME, Renew, Biomed, and then Cleo Griffin, who is a Chief Advocacy Officer with the YMCA. So those are the 9, and that's the kind of one of the new wrinkles that we're going to do this year. But the High Rollers Club is presented by Leaders Credit Union, and we're just super excited. It's a low-key event. It's fun. That's the goal. We're only going to talk for probably 5 minutes total. The rest of the time is socializing and enjoying each other. And so we're looking forward to that. Ticket info, JacksonWagers.com is where you can get more info. Talk to us after this is over, and we can certainly do that. What did I leave off? Oh yeah, we got a couple game sponsors left, which is $3,000, and then Lucky 8 ticket package for $1,800. So those are kind of the 2 levels that remain. I'm gonna leave you with this. Remember I told you we handed out a lot of food. Some of our greatest summer employees came from Union University. By the way, if you haven't been to a frat party, Lord, I hadn't been to one of those in a really long time. If you haven't been to a frat house in a while, please go. Because while she believes you're young, you feel really old when you walk into a fraternity house. So they have meetings the meetings started at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Anyway, that's what college people do. And so I'll walk in thinking I'm one of them. And very quickly it was like, what's this old guy here for? Anyway, some of our best workers this summer came from Union. And they were really able to connect a paycheck with something different. We were in Tiptonville, and this young teenage mom with one of her kids walks up. And as we're talking with them, what we find out is she had walked 4 blocks, and there were 2 other kids at home, plus the 2 that she brought with her. So that means 4 boxes of food is what she was going to get, but she had no way to get them home. And so these 2 Union students just picked them up on their shoulder and walked all the way back. And oh, by the way, it was coming an absolute monsoon. That's what service above self looks like. There are hungry people that we see and walk past every single day in our city, in Lake County, in Hardeman County, and in every county in West Tennessee. And so this is the YMCA. We're grateful that all of you are supportive of the work that we're doing. And if you don't have tickets to the Wagers, don't be looking on Facebook on November 14th going, man, it looks like that was a lot of fun. No, just be in the room. It'll be fine. David? I got 1 minute. Anybody got a question? All right. Thank y'all.
The program you've been watching was made possible through the generous financial support of West Tennessee PBS viewers like you. Please visit westtnpbs.org and make a donation today so that we can continue to make local programs like this possible. Thank you.
It's all about home.